Donald Trump has filed yet another absolute joke of a lawsuit, but it's dangerous. You might have heard by now that he has sued the Des Moines Register, which is a newspaper in Iowa, along with their former pollster, for releasing a poll prior to the election that turned out to be way off. It showed Kamala Harris in the lead in Iowa, and it turns out that Donald Trump won Iowa by like 13 points. So it was way off, and Trump is claiming election interference. Now, election interference isn't a thing you can sue for. And so they filed an absolutely frivolous lawsuit, which I'll get to here in a second. But we all know what this is about. This isn't about winning the lawsuit, which Donald Trump will not, assuming that the Des Moines Register actually defends itself and doesn't pull an ABC News and just gives Donald Trump a payoff and an apology out of fear that Donald Trump will, retaliate with the power of the federal government against them somehow. But assuming they defend the lawsuit, they will win. Trump has no legal leg to stand on. But the point is not to win the lawsuit. The point is to send a message to all news and media organizations that if you publish anything negative about Donald Trump, polls, news stories, opinion pieces, anything, that you're going to be sued and you're going to have to defend yourself in court and spend money. And so that is the entire purpose of this. We all know that. And that's why it's so dangerous. Now, as to the lawsuit itself, it's a complete joke. As I said, election interference isn't a thing you can sue for. I mean, Donald Trump is saying that this poll was basically a lie, that they were lying via a poll with the purpose of swaying the outcome of the election. Well, guess what? You just described pretty much every campaign ad that the Trump campaign ran in 2024. They lied in nearly every campaign ad for the purpose of swaying the election results, right? That's what they're alleging here, and that's what they're suing for. Okay, so imagine that you could sue if this lawsuit were allowed to go forward, and Donald Trump wins on this basis of election interference for saying something that's not true for the purpose of influencing the election outcome. Then you can sue political candidates for every lie they tell in a campaign ad, right? So this is a joke, but of course they didn't sue technically for election interference. That's not the basis of the lawsuit, because it's not a thing. So they had to find some basis to sue. So they sued under the Iowa Consumer Fraud Act. Let me read a little bit from Fox News here. Trump attorneys are suing under the Iowa Consumer Fraud Act, alleging that defendants engaged in an unfair act or practice because the publication and release of the poll caused substantial unavoidable injury to consumers that was not outweighed by any consumer or competitive benefits which the practice produced. Obviously, that's language that comes from the statute, so they're throwing it in their lawsuit here. Consumer protection? What consumers? There's no consumers here. This is clear. I mean, every state has consumer protection laws that are designed to protect consumers, people who buy products and services from being defrauded by unscrupulous companies that engage in fraud to get people to buy their products. There's no products being bought or sold here. Okay, this is the entire basis of this lawsuit is speech. They said something, they printed something that Donald Trump alleges was done for the purpose of affecting the outcome of the election. Well, that's free speech. That's political speech. That is core constitutional protected speech under the First Amendment. So don't want to get too far down that rabbit hole. There's no product or service here. You cannot sue under the Consumer Fraud Act. And even if you could, I seriously doubt Donald Trump would have any standing to sue. Did he buy something? Was he defrauded into purchasing something? No. So this is a joke, and the lawyers who filed this lawsuit should be disciplined, if not straight up disbarred. This is a joke. But again, it's dangerous. And I hope that the Des Moines Register fights against this. This isn't going to go to court. This is going to, it's in court now. It's not going to go to trial. This will be quietly dismissed. The entire purpose of this lawsuit was to file it, for it to get into the news, and to send a message to any other organizations who would print anything negative about Donald Trump. That's the entire purpose. So the purpose has already been served. Okay, now this will be quietly, if the Des Moines Register actually defends itself, this lawsuit will be quietly dismissed by Trump in a couple of months, and it'll get some footnote in an article somewhere. The purpose has been served.